What's going on, guys? Today I'm at Jackson Acura showcasing one of the most anticipated sedans of this year and probably next year, the 2021 Acura TLX. This thing completely redesigned from the ground up. It is absolutely stunning, and today I'm going through this car with you guys to see what you get for $47,000. So let's get to it. So a little history about the TLX. So Acura had their TL sedan, which was their larger, more full-size sedan. Then they had their TSX, which was also a large, full-size sedan, but they kind of competed with each other. The TSX had originally only a 4-cylinder, and then later on it had the option of a bigger V6 that was shared with the TL, and now the TL and TSX are no longer battling each other because Acura decided to combine both cars, put it into one to try not to flood the family tree, and that's how we got the TLX. Okay, the TLX came out, if I recall, back in 2014 as the replacement for the TL and TSX. So it came loaded out with a lot of tech, new design, and then this is actually going to be the second generation TLX. Okay, so they came out with a facelift about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and now they have this completely redesigned model. So this is what you're looking at. This thing is beautiful. So let's take a look at this A-spec TLX. So the absolute first thing I want to point out on this car at all is this grille. I think this grille design is gorgeous. I love how all the design gets centered onto this Acura emblem, and then the way that they integrated the radar cruise control brick, very clean. It's not too tacky. I think they did really well with it, and then it looks really nice there. You see you got front parking sensors on the car. You do have these air dams here that are actually functional, so they actually will help cool your brakes, cool your wheels. This large plastic piece, non-functional, but it still looks very nice. Up here you do have a full LED headlight unit. So you got the dual headlights that Acura was known for. You also have your daytime running light here that looks very similar to my K5's running light, but I think it looks really nice here. And then your indicators are actually an LED strip here, so that looks really nice. One thing I will point out, the outside of the grille here is a gloss black. I think that is a very good detail to have. It's a very small detail, but a very good one. Okay, and then in addition to that, you will have this kind of a satin, I don't want to say a matte finish, but it is more of a satin finish here for this air dam. It is actually really nice and clean. So overall, I think the front end looks very good on this car. It looks very evolutionary, but almost revolutionary for the Acura brand, and I think they did a fantastic job up front here. So let's talk about these wheels. So this is the A-spec model, so because of that you do have these darker wheels. They aren't necessarily black. When you get up close to it, it's actually very, very dark graphite, and I think it looks really good, honestly. So these are going to be 19-inch wheels. They are wrapped in Michelins, and this is an all-wheel drive model, or super handling all-wheel drive as Acura likes to call it. So I will say this definitely gets a thumbs up for the wheel set there. So very nicely done, Acura. Very tasteful. I love the spokes. It's not too overstyled, but it's not too understated, and that's very, very important in today's car world because there's a lot of car designs that are coming out that are very aggressive or overly aggressive. This is not one of them. I think they did just right. So coming back to the TLX, the rear of the car, I think, is where this thing shines the most. This thing is stunning back here. I don't know if a car company could have looked in the mirror as strongly as Acura did. Acura has been a brand that has kind of been seen as vanilla through the years, especially in recent times because they haven't done anything crazy. They've done something crazy here. This thing looks marvelous. So when you look at these taillights, it's very reminiscent of older Acuras, but at the same time, for some reason, it just gives me that Italian flair. It just looks really nice. It's a full LED unit. You see, of course, you got your running lights integrated, your brake lights, your indicators, they're all LED. They all look amazing. They mimic the front in terms of the jewel eye kind of theme there. You got their your super handling all-wheel drive badge here, of course, because this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. Your rear parking sensors. This metallic paint is beautiful. It is black, but it does have a lot of beautiful flake in there. It reminds me of a Cadillac's black pearl paint. It looks really nice. One thing I'm gonna say, in a world of fake exhaust vents, This one is actually real. This looks amazing. I love how it goes with the theme of the rear, but words can't explain. I just think it looks terrific. I've always been a fan of Acura's design with their tailpipes. They never really went to a faux tail light or tailpipe design, and here you see they kept that true. So dual exhaust, and it looks amazing. So other than that, one thing I want to point out is back here on the tailgate, you do have the button for the trunk release. It is integrated really nicely into this taillight design. I think they did really well with that, and I just love when car companies do that. Don't have some sticky little button in the most awkward place on the trunk. Just keep it flush with the taillight, especially in this this way. It looks amazing. Other things to make note, you do have this reflector piece here, of course. They integrated that really well. I don't think it looks out of place. It looks better than if it would be on the side there. So kudos to you, Acura. And then in the middle of the Acura badge, you do have the rear facing camera. So that's also really nice. And then you have this beautiful A-spec badge back here. Looks really nice, really sporty, very well done. Good taste to you, Acura. And then how can we forget? Look at this, a beautiful spoiler. Beautiful, beautiful spoiler. I think it completes the car. It's not too big of a spoiler to where you're gonna be like, ooh, boy, racer-ish. But if you just want a really nice sports sedan with a clean look, extra touch of sportiness in addition to luxury, this is your guy. Look at that, that looks amazing. So that's gonna be the outside of the Acura. Why don't we take you on the inside? You guys already know I'm about that point of view when it comes to looking at the inside of a car. So let's take a look at this Acura. I'm gonna go ahead and close the door. Man, that felt really nice. I got the key in my pocket. Get your start stop button. That's nice. Let's start up this engine. You got the ELS audio, which I had in my Acura TSX, and that was really, really nice. What I'm noticing, you do have manual gauges, which in today's world, I feel like those should have been digital, but for manual gauges, these look really nice. It looks like a machined metal finish with red print, which is really, really cool. You'd have a digital gauge cluster in the middle there, so that's also really nice. On the steering wheel, let's talk steering wheel, because this steering wheel looks amazing. So for one, the red stitching on the inside, really nice detail. Secondly, I love the shape of the horn button. It looks really nice. You have the A-spec badging here. It is a little bit squared off there, but not too squared off. Perforated leather, looks absolutely amazing. And then you do have plastic buttons here, which again, it feels good even though it is plastic. These buttons also feel really good even though they are plastic. Do I wish they would have gone with like maybe a metal finish on the outside? Yeah, but at the same time, there's a reason this car is $47,000 versus $65,000 from the Germans. So that begs the question, what do you get with the $47,000? So for one, you have every lane safety feature known to man. Of course, you can edit that through the steering wheel. Of course, you do have this button here, which will actually edit the adaptive cruise control. On the interior, you will have heated and cooled seats, and they are automatically functioned as well. So if you want them to be connected with your climate controls, you can definitely do that. Here, this center stack looks really nice. So for one, definitely reminds me of the NSX, which is their supercar. But for one, it's also really well laid out. Okay, everything's exactly where you'd want it to be. Nothing is misplaced. It just makes sense. So here you got the dynamic mode exchange button. So essentially that's to change the drive mode. So you see you got comfort, normal, sport. But say if you want to go again, you hear that? It's like, no, don't change me. But look at that. Every time you change it, you get this neat little graphic. I love that. And I love the attention to detail. They could have put any TLX there, but they put our TLX. I love that noise. Now, something else to consider, you do have buttons here for the transmission. So that's something that Honda and Acura have been doing for the past few years. Some people love it, some people hate it. I mean, it's a learning curve, but I'm sure once you get used to it, it is what it is. It's shift by wire anyways, so most cars nowadays are like that anyways. So looks really nice, nothing too crazy. It is kind of interesting that to put it in reverse, you have to push this back. Neutral is a down button, and so is park, and so is drive. If you press drive again, it puts you in sport. So let's talk about this screen, right? So you control it with this little touchpad here, which is something that Lexus has been trying to do well for the past few years, and they haven't really been doing it well. But has Acura mastered it? I think they have. I really do. This looks really nice. It's very responsive, but it's not too responsive, so that way you'd overstep anything. You've got the back button, home button, so, and then you have this little side screen there, so that way if you want to use this screen over here, you can adjust that with this, which is really nice. So, and I love that noise. Acura's doing really good things with these noises. I love that. What is that? That's awesome. So press back, and then of course it brings you back to this. So like I said, you can scroll there, push down on that, and then it brings you to whatever screen you're looking at. Here would be navigation. So there's a navigation screen there. Looks really nice. Let's talk about material quality. So for one, I love the fact that this dash is leather with this red stitching. Looks very nice, goes all the way across. In the door panel, you're gonna have this metal accent around the door handle. You have that leather that goes into the door sill. And then of course, I love the speaker grill. I am a man of speaker grills, and look at that. I love the metal finish on it. And then just the quality, like pulling on this feels amazing. You got memory seats, you got plenty of storage here, so you can put whatever you want there, newspapers, candy, doesn't matter. You got your trunk release button there. It is kind of plasticky. They could have done something to kind of mimic this metal feel here, but nothing too bad there. And then one thing I do want to make note, Acura's done this for a while, but their blind spot detection is not in the mirror. It's actually right here. Don't know why they did that, but they did. Let's talk mirror. Look at that thing. That thing is beautiful. That is a beautiful frameless mirror. You got home link on it, of course. I love mirrors. Everybody knows I love mirrors. You do get a standard size sunroof. I will say that I really wish they would have gone panoramic. It would have looked amazing on this car. I'm kind of unsure why they did that. Then up here, sunglass holder, nothing too special there. And then LED lighting. So you do have those attributes as well. And then for the visor, pull it up, you have an incandescent bulb. Could have gone LED, but again, Acura is the luxury division of Honda. There's a reason why this is $47,000 versus $65,000. So let's take a peek in the back seat. So let's talk back seat. So this is a mid-size car. Some would even say full size, depending on what market in the world you're in. And right now, I'm going to say that I have a lot of room. I will say the roofline is actually pretty short. I'm 5'9", and I could say that there's probably less headroom than my K5. I do feel like maybe if somebody was 6 feet or taller, they would have trouble with headroom in this car. Legroom, I have no problem there. The seats a little bit back here. I have more than enough room, which is nice. You have vents back here for the rear passengers. That's also nice. You do have speakers built into the roof of the car. That's actually really cool. Don't think I've seen that yet, but it would make sense with this ELS audio system. Looks really nice. The door cards mimic the front. You've got the nice metal finish on the speaker grill. You've got that red stitching into the leather. And then you do have storage pocket here, big enough for maybe a small water bottle, candy, nothing too special there. I'm gonna say the seat back is very plasticky. I really wish they would have done something a little bit different than this. Maybe if they would have done, say, full leather, or maybe just a softer plastic. Maybe I would have been better with a softer plastic, but oh well. You do have your storage pockets. You have them on both sides. That's also really nice. And then you do have your oh crab handle if the driver is scaring you in this sports sedan. And then one thing I do want to talk about, something that you guys probably thought I was going to miss, but the seats in this car. Let's take a look at the seats in this car. Look at the seats in this thing. They are beautiful. This is the ebony interior. It's got Alcantara inserts, which feel amazing. I love the design of what they did with the stitching. Just gives it that exotic feel. This leather, very soft, very supple. This is one thing I'm gonna make note on. I love this finish on the controls. A lot of car companies negate this and kind of ignore it. Acura did not. It looks amazing. Lumbar control, of course, and then standard seat controls there. I think this, really good finish to the seat. The seats, they hug you quite well. You've got your very soft headrest there, more than enough space, but I love these seats. I think they look beautiful. Very well done, Acura. So getting into the trunk of the TLX, so it's a pretty standard trunk, nothing too crazy. You do have your releases for the seat back, so if you do want to fold down the seats, you can. That's a really nice feature there. In here, there's really nothing worth mentioning, honestly. Underneath, you do have this little floorboard area here. The battery is back here, but then also you do have your tire repair kit also, and then you do have a little funnel there, so they can equip you for roadside assistance if you need it. But the only thing I'll say is the trunk is not a power trunk. Kind of wish they put that on here, but at the same time, some of the competitors don't have it either, so maybe I'm asking for too much. All right, so now we get to drive the Acura TLX. Let me put this in drive real quick. This is awesome. I will say this is definitely a really good sedan in terms of visibility, which is something that a lot of sedans will have trouble with. Right off the bat, I'm going to notice that the noise in the car is decently elevated. Granted, this is a compact sports sedan, so I know it's going to have tougher tires on there, sportier tires. You're going to get that road noise. This steering wheel is very thick. It feels very nice in your hands. That's what she said. No, but this steering wheel does feel very performance oriented. Something that you can't say about a lot of cars, especially in this class, just because they're going to aid more for comfort than they are that sporty appeal. In this case, it feels very nice. I mean, I love the perforated leather. Now, I will say, the steering feel in the car is very light. I am in comfort mode, but this is incredibly light. The car definitely feels direct, but also very, very light. I'm gonna try a U-turn here. Holy cow, that's awesome. Turning radius is fantastic. I will say that. This thing, wow. So I do want to give a very, very big thank you to Jackson Acura here in the Roswell, Alpharetta, Georgia area. They're the ones that let me drive this TLX. They just got them in and they have a huge inventory of them. I know they're one of the top dealers in the whole state of Georgia. So if you guys want to check them out, please do so. I will put a link in the description of this video. But huge thank you to them, because without them, I wouldn't have been able to drive this car. So I am very excited for that. So thank you, Jackson Acura. You'll definitely be seeing more of me here. So now, other things to note, it does feel very airy in here, but with this lower roofline, you do feel tighter. You really do. You feel kind of more closed in. So the car is a large car, but because of that lower roofline, you really do feel as if you're a little bit more confined to a smaller space. So I'm not sure if they're trying to go for more of a big car feels like a Miata kind of feel or what, but that's kind of the indication that I'm getting here. Now, other things that I want to make note of, this motor, right? So this is a turbocharged 4-cylinder, okay? It is derived from the Civic Type R motor, okay? So it's used in the RDX. It's found its way here in the TLX. Produces about 272 horsepower, 280 foot-pounds of torque. The car definitely has a good bit of power, especially on the low end, but it's also rev happy, so you can rev this to about 6,500 RPM I mean, red line here showing between 7,000 and 8,000, which for a turbocharged motor is pretty nice. Now, in terms of drivability, this car feels comfortable. The seats are comfortable. The seats are very comfortable. They're tight, but not too tight. So I can definitely tell they wanted to combine that luxury with the sport. But the suspension, decently firm, not too firm. So I can tell that they're definitely reserving their firmest suspension and probably their sportiest suspension for the upcoming Type S model, which hopefully I can get my hands on as well. But I will say I can definitely tell that they're definitely reserving some things for that model. One thing I do want to make note of as well, see, that's something I have to get used to, that blind spot system being on the inside of the car versus on the mirror. That is just, it's kind of strange to me, because I know a few car companies do that, but for me, that's a learning curve for me. I will say that. On the steering wheel, you are going to have paddle shifters. They are going to be metal, and they feel really nice. They do feel really, really nice. They shift pretty quickly. In 5th gear now, shift down. Yeah, pretty decent. This car's got some good power to it. It really does. And it's quiet. The motor is quiet. The motor is actually very quiet. Of all things, I hear more road noise than I do the motor, which a car like this, I feel like you might want to hear the motor a little bit more. So in saying that, I feel like putting maybe a sport tune exhaust as an option at least would be really nice on this car. I think it would do this car some justice. And I know it's kind of hard to make a 4-cylinder sound good, but there are car companies that do it. Mercedes is one of them. Fiat with their Abarth 500 can definitely do it. Fiat did it also with the, or not Fiat, but Alfa Romeo did it with their 4C. They make those things sound amazing. I feel like Acura could do something very similar. So, ooh, the heated seat feels nice. I do want to say it's really cool because you do have a charging pad here, and then you have this giant center stack, so I always have a place to rest my arm, which is so nice because you miss out on that a lot in sedans. Not so much SUVs, but in sedans you do. I love that. Good job on that, Acura. Transmission shifts really quickly. I mean, every new car is going to do that. The test is really going to be whether or not you can pull this thing around the track and then feel the transmission shift. And it'll probably shift harder. But holy cow. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but when you put it on the gas, you can hear the turbo spool. Holy cow. That's awesome. I'm not even gonna lie. There's very few cars when you can hear that. In this car, you can hear that. And you can hear a little bit of the blow-off valve. I'm smitten. That is something that I love. That's more of a car enthusiast thing. Your generic Karen that might buy this car probably won't care, Ren. But I love that. That put a smile on my face. I think that's amazing. I don't know who was in charge of that. That's awesome. So cool. That's awesome. I love hearing it. You can just hear it spool up. It's kind of a quiet whisper, but you can hear it and it sounds amazing. Wow. Absolutely love it. The frameless mirror here. Everybody knows I'm a fan of the frameless mirror. I love my frameless mirrors. I love them. Frameless mirrors are bar none the way to go for any interior. I know it's more of a modern thing, but car companies need to jump on that because it just adds to the aesthetic of the vehicle. Same thing with steering wheels. Steering wheels are everything to a car's interior. If your steering wheel is not on point, that interior is going to look pretty bad. In this case, the steering wheel looks amazing, feels amazing. Steering is a little light, kind of numb, but again, you can change that. Put a normal. Holy cow. Sport mode. Yeah, steering feels pretty tight now. It's not too heavy, it's still on the lighter side, but it's definitely more direct. And Lord have mercy, did that car connect the motor and transmission super fast, jumped the RPMs right on up. I know y'all heard that. Holy cow. Now I'm getting more engine noise. I don't know if that's pumped through the speakers or not. I know a lot of car companies are doing that. I wouldn't put it past Acura, but what I'm hearing does sound good. Oh my gosh, that spool! The spool! I love the spool. It's amazing. I love the spool. I love turbocharged cars for that reason. The same reason why people love the whine of a supercharger. I love the spool of this car. Holy cow. The transmission shifts better in sport, actually. At least more aggressively, which is something that I like. So that's more of a me thing, not a generic thing. And then with this being an all-wheel drive car, it doesn't feel too heavy already. I'm about to take it around a few turns here, but for sure it feels pretty nice. Feels pretty planted still. It does remind me a lot like my K5. I'm not even gonna lie. It reminds me, driving wise, like my K5, except definitely more power and definitely a more plush interior. I love the metal accents in here. I love these seats. I love the seats. Headliner being black looks really nice. I just noticed they have speakers right behind the oh crap handle. What? Why? I mean, I'm not mad, but geez, holy cow, that's awesome. Turn on the climate controls here. Get that going. They do have buttons for the climate controls. I feel like they should have just gone with like a rotary dial. Holy cow, this car's got some good power for, like, this 4-cylinder is so punchy, especially in the sport mode. Wow. This is so nice. That's awesome. I love the way that this car feels in terms of the suspension. I think this is the perfect balance between comfort and sport. It incites that confidence to drive spiritedly, but without killing your back. Give us some beans here. Wow. This is a fun car. I love the power because it's a comfortable amount of power. So everybody says comfortable amount of power. This is that. So 272 horsepower. Torque figure almost matches that. It's a little bit more at 280 foot-pounds. And you have enough to where you can gun it and still be within the speed limit. Granted, you can get yourself in trouble still, but it doesn't take away from the pleasure. You don't say this is a slow car. It's a quick car. It's not a fast car, but it's definitely a quick car. Take a U-turn here. The brakes, I don't know if it's because they're not warmed up yet or what, but they don't feel too grippy right now. This transmission's nice. I do like the transmission. The calibration for it's very, very clean. It's very quick. Whereas in my K5, there's a slight lag. This is nice. Lags the gear a little bit, but it isn't the worst thing in the world because that's what you want when you're in sport mode. Now the brakes feel a little grippier there. Definitely firm. Definitely a firm pedal. I want to talk about the infotainment screen. I kind of wish that they wouldn't have gone with a touchpad. And the only reason why I say that is, yes, it's very nice and this car works very well. But people are so rubbed wrong by Lexuses that if another car company incorporates that, they're going to be turned off by that. So I'm very curious of why they did that. Don't know. It works nice in this car, it really does, but I just don't know what made them do that. You know? It is actually very nice. You get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. That's pretty much commonplace in the industry right now. 2 cup holders in the middle. You got storage pockets on the side, so there's a lot of storage that you can use. There's storage in the inner pocket of the center console. So that's pretty nice. I just think this is a really, really nice place to be. This car definitely looks better in person than it does in pictures. In pictures, I feel like the proportions just make it look cheap, but in person, it looks very nice. Very, very nice. So I'm back in the K5, and I just want to finish this video with my final thoughts on the TLX. So it had a sticker of about 47 grand, and for that money, I do think it's well spent. You're getting a premium car. Granted, it's not going to be a $65,000 car because it's not one of the Germans, but you get what you pay for. Okay, you get the nice stereo, you get the nice materials on the inside, you get that very, very nice build quality that you'd expect. You get a pretty potent motor. My only drawbacks are I wish they would have put a panoramic sunroof in. I really wish that they didn't go with that touchpad for the infotainment system. And then outside of that, I mean, really, I think it's a very, very nice sedan. I'm very impressed with it, especially coming from a previous Acura owner. I had a 2010 TSX. I was very impressed with it. They've come a very long way, and I think that's going to rebuild their brand, especially with the sedan aspect of it. So not really too many shortcomings on the car. You know, I really do find myself hard pressed to find some. So in saying that, really, really nice car. Great value for the money if you're looking for a really nice looking sport luxury sedan. Good job, Acura. Don't forget, guys, definitely like and subscribe to the channel. I would definitely appreciate it. And don't forget to click that bell in the top right hand corner so that way you can get alerts every time I post a video on a new car. So until next time, I'll see you guys.